Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Basic human rights, for those of you who are hearing me for the very first time, are those rights that are essential for your survival. Every last one of you who are called human beings. These are rights that have been established in your creative process, of which now is included. Today I wanted to speak to you on some things that perhaps would be very interesting to you enough to pay attention. And I asked myself, why can't I come to the American people and speak in a positive tone, speak about the positive nature of America? Because America can't be all bad, and it seems as though attention is drawn to that which is all bad. And to that I'd say, well, if you were in the all bad position, wouldn't you want me to speak in the all bad position? Not that you got anything against the others, but they got what you're trying to get. So what would you say? I'm sure you would concur that those people who are hurting most are the people who deserve the greatest attention. And if you really cared about their situation, you could lend a hand in the kind of way that works. We often talking about let's walk for this cause, let's walk for that cause, and we were trying to raise money, and we see that money is never sufficient enough because the design is set in such a way that it never ends. It's a process that continues. For getting money is the goal, and ending that which you're trying to get just don't make sense to those who are trying to do that. And so this is why I speak to you. You see, I see the problems of the world because I'm like all of you. I've shared in the good times. And I learned that if I wanted to know the problems of the bad times, I gotta care. And to really care means you might just put yourself there, because then and only then will you understand what it really is. I know when I was doing all right, I wasn't too concerned about who weren't. But being not doing all right, I'm very concerned. And so the message comes that enlightens ways to end this. I think about this expression, make America great again. You've heard somebody say that. In fact, you've heard some politicians talk about making America great again. And many of you have said, what does that mean? Does that mean going back to the times when we treated people as if they weren't important, whether we had to kill them or enslave them or silence them? Is that what we're talking about? And yet we must understand that this nation was founded and it's in a position where people would acquiesce and give in to the commands of those who had perpetrated a lie on them, deceived them to think that what was important perhaps now is not important. And that which is not important is guaranteed to be important for those who's perpetrating that lie. And so those with money ended up having control of everything. And the people who had nothing, the only thing they could do was to work for somebody else for something. And at the same time, they were being led by rules and regulations and laws and politicians that were gearing everything that would possibly come out of this life process towards the benefit of those who had the money and never you. And so, as this is representative of a society not just in America but all over the world, somebody must come to you and remind you, my friends, that there is a power that is unseen, a power that you can't put your hands on, power you can't just mail. But when that power acts, there's no doubt that that power has been and is. And so for those who know of that, they call them born again, because now they see a different walk in life that appears in such a way that you can see the world for what it is. And at the same time, you see that because you know the truth about what it can be like. And so, having done that, this is the purpose of the church, ladies and gentlemen. It is the purpose of the preachers. It is the purpose of everybody who knows God. It is the purpose of everybody who has received a miracle. A miracle means something that has happened to you that could not happen to you any other way except by a power that you can't explain. And so you accept that, especially if it's good, as God. And because it is so real in your life begins to shine as an example of that, and the people can see God in you. And perhaps can be working on that road of enlightening this hell that people are living in. And so when the church comes out, it's to say, man didn't make this world, another power did. Everything that is required for one individual survival is required of every individual on the face of the earth. Now, some have been given to you without your being able to control. For instance, oxygen and air. Water has been put here in abundance, so you could never really have to run out of that, and it's constantly raining. And the ability to manipulate the situations in life and nature that you could have food, it is provided for that. And that you may be able to have shelter. The earth has produced a material force. And that you might be able to know how to do these things by first trial and error and create education that others might come who might be interested, will not have to go that road, but have the experience of those of you who have gone before. You've laid the foundation. This is the process. And we receive education because it's beneficial to all of us. This is the divine plan. I'm talking to those of you who want to know what I mean when I say spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I'm talking about a situation where everybody who might need health care, it has been provided for, and it is in an abundance, so everybody can get the best health care there is, because what is known amongst one is known amongst all. Because the only people that are working in the medical field are those who wouldn't have it any other way. For here lies their joy. And ladies and gentlemen, one of the most fantastic creations and situations in this particular description of life is that everybody have a career of their own choosing, a career that gives you, my friends, the greatest excitement possible. And in so doing, you, each of you, play a role in the process of creating. You play a role in the process of creating. You play a role in the process of creating all of the goods, all of the services that you, the people, have determined are essential in your lives. Now look at this. All of a sudden you got the greatest job on earth. All of a sudden you have access to the kind of housing that you desire, and only you desire. You got people sitting right there just waiting, so glad that you have finally come up with what you want. You got people, my friends, that are sitting there making sure that any form of transportation that you would need to go anywhere in the world at any time is available to you. This is the benefit. This is the benefit of doing unto others as you would have others do unto you. That's a simple plan. Because all of these things are what? Coming amongst you. And you have guaranteed them, one unto the other, that these, none of us, would be without them. No force, no ideology or anything that would separate us from that which gives us life, sustenance. Nothing. We owe that to ourselves. Without. And so here, my friends, is the picture, a different picture. But we who have said that we are the greatest nation on the face of the earth have been deceived. And we can actually see it now. As great as we have thought we were, we amongst us all how much hate and bigotry exists. It has been so magnified to the extent that we have been bamboozled and doled into a position where those with the most hateful attitudes have been chosen to represent the great America. We've talked about the democracy, how great it is amongst the whole world. We want to say how great it is. And now you got people laughing at the nation because they see how ignorant or how stupid we have acted. Now there are those who say, well, I didn't go that way, but you were choosing the opposite, and everybody knows that if you had done that, the same thing would have been happening today. What that means is that you, the people, have the power to make the changes that are essential. These people who are put in power are elected by you, the people, are put there to serve you. And by putting them there to serve you, you have given them great benefits. But they should not have any greater benefits than you. No greater benefits than you. Look at what they do. They take in all kinds of money. And the workers, what do the workers get? They pay little taxes. What do the workers have to pay? These are benefits that you've given them. You've suffered yourself for their benefit. You put them on the throne. My friends, you are the ones on the thrones. They are the ones that you put there to make sure that you don't come off the throne. And they've thrown you off the throne. by your own power. This is why we have people in power, in the highest power of government in this country. And the world is laughing at it. And even the American people themselves are making jokes, but you better stop trying to make jokes. You better try to talk about doing something. And I'm not talking about bringing harm to your elected president of the United States. Donald Trump is who Donald Trump is. And Donald Trump does not have to apologize for being who Donald Trump is. Everybody who knows Donald Trump talked to you and told you who Donald Trump was. But you had been so programmed and so brainwashed that it didn't matter. Your hate said, give me this. You didn't give a darn about the people who are hurting. You don't give a darn about people who would lose health care anytime anybody doesn't have health care. You can put up with it. You don't care. You've been trained and brainwashed to be that way. That's the world you're living in. But God comes to tell you, the Spirit of love comes to tell you, I come to tell you about that power that is unseen but is real. That if you change your way, you will make the difference. And the politicians will do what you told them to do. In the state of Minnesota just the other day, there is a city in that state where the city council and the mayor, or at least the mayor, wants to get rid of the police department. Says it's too costly. But the people got together. They went to City Hall to the meeting. They called the mayor and they said to the mayor, this is what we the people have determined amongst ourselves. That this is what we want, and you do not have the authority to go above what we want and render a decision opposite of ours. Now, that still is being debated. I mean, they didn't do what they were supposed to do that night. The police are still there. But that is my point. That is the process whereby change is made. You, the people, come together. But not just for a cause that's so important to you, and other causes that aren't. If you come together for one cause, you come together for all the causes. No cause is represented alone. Every cause is represented collectively, and that will require absolute change. And you don't just go asking for change, trusting for people who have no idea what change is about, or ever given it any consideration as far as their action is being. You go with them with a plan. So they can't say, we can't. Oh, yes, you can. That's what you are being paid to do. And from now on, if they got health care, unlimited, every citizen in America, unlimited. If they can retire and don't have to worry about anything else, you retire and don't have to worry about anything else. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, the plan of God is better than all of that. You see, when I told you about this plan, not one time did I mention anything about money. In the world, when you talk about money, you talk about debt. In the world, when you talk about money, you're talking about credit. In the world, when you talk about money, you're talking about being robbed. At every corner that you can be robbed at, you're going to be robbed at it. That's what it's all about. But in God's world, see, it is the joy of life that we seek, with peace and prosperity, love us and amongst us, and doing what we do. That is nothing but the ground, the garden of joy. And here is where we live. So we don't need the IRS. We don't need the Federal Reserve. We don't need banks. All we need is that door that says you can be what you want to be. And all of us are here to make sure that that is what happens. Why? Because it is the golden jewel of life that's been created by a spirit that we cannot see. What does that mean? That means that we changed our way. We decided against the bombs. We decided against nuclearism. We decided against communism and socialism and dictatorships. We decided on love. And it's a simple matter. Do unto others, for those of you who can't understand it, as you would have others to do unto you. There are many people who believe in the system, and they think that the way to succeed is to take the steps that the system has designed. They don't even recognize that the steps were not designed for every foot. but just for some. And so they have to act that way. But when someone is inspired, they have to step away from that if they really are inspired to do so. And they will. And those things that others might expect them to do, now that they have stepped away, they won't do. And that sometimes make them look and be talked about like they were talking about Jesus. I say that because I'm in that position. There are so many things that others would say that I should have done. But I see the way the world operates. And I see a better world. And I can't advocate for that world if I'm holding on to the world that I'm talking against. And so, while I might have been able to do so many things for others out there that I haven't done, that's why. And it's not just that I haven't done it for them, I haven't done it for myself. And why did I do this? Because whatever they're getting out there, you're worth so much more. And I want you to do that. I want you to have it. I want you to have it because there's a spirit in me that says, look at them now. Look at them now. Wow, what a creation. And that power loves you. And sometimes when I talk about that, I might feel that it's me loving you. But that was a time I didn't love you like that. And it's hard for me to believe that that's just me loving you like this. So I have to give this to the power that's unseen. And it's not man, because you know man does not care about you at all. Look at all those babies. I think they're saying 4 countries. Right now, everybody's starving. And people are calling themselves great nations. And you got people around the world with billions of dollars and trillions of dollars, even in the countries where people are starving. And this kind of stuff exists. I think it's time for all of us to wake up. The power is not in government. The power is not in kings and queens and presidents and mayors and governors. No, my friends. The power is in the hearts and in the minds of you, the individual. That's where the power lies. And when we can come together on just those things that are coming amongst us, we don't have to reach out there and wonder about those other things. Those other things will take care of themselves because we would have learned the way to life when we focus in on our survival. Our survival. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people. Say bye-bye.